So this question is one that I asked when I first started out in coding years and years ago, is what in the world are these morphology codes? What are they used for? I don't see them in any of my coding materials. None of my classwork covers them. Nobody seems to use them, but they're prominent in the ICD Index, and there's a whole appendix all about them. Now, I will admit that this question came back right before the end of the year. So some of us were still using ICD-9. Some of us are still using ICD-9. I know most of you are going, gasp, right? We did transition to ICD-10 October 1st, but ICD-9 is still around and in use, especially for some of those Medicare Advantage plans that don't have all their data in from before October 1st. So that's really where this question came from. When we look at the ICD-9 manual, we used to see all of these morphology codes in the index. And if you don't know what I mean by a morphology code, in ICD-9, if you were looking in the index and let's say you went to the word carcinoma, chances are after the word carcinoma, in parentheses, you would see this M, I don't know, it was a 4 number. It was M and then 4 numbers with a slash and another number. So it would be like M5090/1. You know, it would be something to that effect. Well, those numbers didn't really mean anything if you didn't understand what they were. They were morphology codes. And there was this appendix in the back of ICD-9 that explained what those morphology codes were. Those morphology codes were basically there to tell you what kind of tumor you were dealing with, whether you were dealing with a malignancy or a benign tumor or a carcinoma in situ, all of those things. So your question is, well, where do these come into play? Well, just as Alicia has highlighted for me there, this is all about cancer and tumor registries. If you work for a cancer registry or a tumor registry, these are things you're familiar with, and you're like, why are we talking about morphology codes again? I already know this. But unless you work in one of those areas, you probably saw them and like, why are they here? Why doesn't anybody explain them to me? Nobody tells me what all these things mean. That's because outside of the cancer and tumor registry, they're not used. And now that we have gone to ICD-10, you're going to find that there's no more morphology codes in the index of the book. If you see an M code in the index for ICD-10, that is a musculoskeletal code. It has nothing to do with the type of cancer or tumor that you're dealing with. There's also no longer an appendix in the back of ICD-10 that talks about morphology. The reason for that being, in the index of ICD-10, they've already built the morphology codes into the way you look them up. So in ICD-9, where you looked up carcinoma and it told you, oh, you need to look up this M code to figure out what kind it is, now in ICD-10, when you look up carcinoma, it's going to ask you, where is this? And it's going to tell you that if it's a carcinoma, those are almost always malignant. So it's going to kind of walk you through and send you to the right cells or the right codes. And you may have options for, okay, yeah, it's a carcinoma of this particular area. Is it squamous cell? Is it Merkel cell? What kind is a basal cell? What kind of carcinoma is it? So they get more in depth than they did in ICD-9. So we saw those morphology codes go away. But those morphology codes were there to identify the type of tumor for cancer registries. And those are all used for statistical reporting so that we can try to figure out what the triggers are for some of those tumors. And as they begin to identify what they are or exposure to certain things, they can link it back so that we can try to prevent cancer and develop treatment for cancers going forward.
Do you need more medical certification training? Go to www.cco.us. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for updates.